So not counting those not even looking for a job who don't have it, yes, that's one of the main criticisms I have about it, and the video does a good job showing that. Yes. Discourage workers, people who have given up, not looked for the last 4 weeks. Yes. They should include those. That's a criticism I have. Not including those is a problem. So you should include people that have given up for work, looking for work, and the unemployed. Also, doesn't specify if the person is working part-time or not. That's another criticism. Someone could be working part-time and can't find a full-time job, even though they want to work full-time, but they're still considered employed, even though they should be considered something. They should have some sort of consideration in that calculation. Not counting part-time workers exactly. It doesn't count people that are underemployed. So if you're working a job that doesn't fit your skill set. So maybe you're a doctor and you can't find a job in the medical field, that would be underemployed. So they don't count that either. So there's a lot of issues with it. It's very manipulated to look good. Like the unemployment rate is usually so the unemployment rate is usually misleading, but the labor force participation rate is a lot better of a measure. And because it shows if people have given up looking for work, and it's more of an accurate measure because it shows the whole population. So which of the following people would be considered unemployed? A recent high school graduate looking for the first job, so they'll be frictional there. Which of the following would be included as a member of the labor force? A recent high school graduate looking for a first job, so actively looking for work. Unemployment caused by recession is called what? So cyclical unemployment. Frictional unemployment often occurs when people first enter the labor force. Steel workers are laid off because the company has progressed, economy has progressed, and steel industry has died. Structural unemployment. Which type of UE is considered to be most controllable through microeconomic policies? Cyclical unemployment. So macroeconomic policies are used to get the economy out of cyclical unemployment. So which of the following are consequences of unemployment? So a decline in output and income. So structural unemployment could be worsened by immobility of labor. The labor force consists of what? People who are able and willing to work. Economists say that the economy is fully employed when It is experiencing only frictional and structural unemployment. So when they're fully employed, there's no cyclical unemployment. So no cyclical unemployment when they're fully employed. There is still some unemployment. Frictional and structural unemployment will always exist in any economy, even if it's the best economy out there. There's always frictional and structural due to people wanting to get a new job, also people losing their job because of technology. Even in the best economy ever, there will always be frictional and structural unemployment, but cyclical could be removed in the best economic times. So good work, Christabel. Great work, Serena. Excellent work, Curtis. So yeah, great work, Monica, too. Yeah, great effort, everyone. So that was really well done. So let's now get to the next thing. So let's go through inflation now. So this is the other topic for today that I want to cover. So what is inflation? So inflation is an average rate of the general increase in the price level of all goods over time, which leads to a devaluation of money and its purchasing power. Example of inflation. So 1986 Big Mac, a dollar buys this much, 62%, 38% is what's left. And now, so in 1986, a dollar bought 62% of a Big Mac. And then in 2012, a dollar bought 23% of a Big Mac. So the purchasing power of a dollar has went down by about 70% during this period. So in 1967, when McDonald's launched the Big Mac in the US, it only cost $0.45. However, today a Big Mac costs $3.99. So it's actually a lot more now because of inflation. So the purchasing power of the dollar has went down by a lot. And using the Big Mac index, there's a Big Mac index that they use to measure prices, and it's a good measurement of how the purchasing power of the dollar has just plummeted. And it's out there, they use it a lot. It's not extremely accurate, but it shows, like in this case, this is pretty accurate here. Shows how much value the dollar has lost over this period. So yeah, so you're buying you're buying a lot less for your dollar now. Cause of inflation. So demand side reasons, increase in money supply, increase in household income, deficit in government budget spending, results due to foreign exchange reserves, supply side reasons, agricultural growth, significant industry growth rates. So impacts of inflation, definitely high levels of uncontrolled inflation is bad, creates a lot of uncertainties. So people start to save when uncertain, spending starts to fall, businesses start to cut costs, economy shrinks, people lose jobs, causes more uncertainty, price falling further causes deflation. So as it goes, it's just negative circle, it's a domino effect. It just goes worse and worse. So yeah, people start to save when uncertain, then spending starts to fall, then businesses start to cut costs, economy shrinks, people lose jobs, causes more uncertainty, prices falling further, causes deflation. Consequences of inflation: a fall in real income if the rise in wage is smaller than the inflation rate, rising costs for firms, lower business competitiveness, high uncertainty that impedes potential investments. How to measure inflation, how to control it. So use CPI. So in this case, the CPI is the consumer price index equals current price period price of the basket divided by base period price of the basket times 100. So we'll use this chart here, the food, education, clothes costs here, and we'll use the weighting. So here, I'll put this in the chat. So I'll put it on the board here. So to do this, you would do So what you would do is the weight of 45 would go there. You multiply it by the 52. Actually, 1 second. So to get the weighted average prices, so weighted average prices in 1998, what we would do is we would take the weight times 1998 price plus weight times 1998 price of education plus weight times 1998 price of clothes. So weight would be weight of food, weight of education, and then weight of clothes here. So we would do that to find the 1988 weighted average prices, and then for the weighted average prices in 2008, it would be the weight of food times 2008 price of food plus weight of education times 2008 price of education plus weight of clothes times 2008 price of clothes. So we would use those formulas here. And to put that together here, weighted average prices in 1998 equals 45% times 52 plus weight of education 0.25 times 80 plus 0.30 times 20. And we got that here, and then that would be about 49.40 here. And then weighted average price 2008, weighted average prices in 2008 equals 0.30 times, sorry, 0.45 times 55 plus 0.25 times 65 plus 0.30 times 22. And then we get about 4760. And then to get to what we do now is CPI equals current period price of the basket divided by base period price of the basket times 100%. So current period would be 2008. And then base period would be 1998. So we would take those two numbers that we calculated, CPI equals 4760 divided by 4940, and then times 100% equals 96.36. So in this case, since the CPI is 96.36, that means that there has been negative inflation during this period because it is under 100. So the prices have went down on average. So prices have went down on average. And as you can see, I'll what I'll do is I'm just gonna put that right here. As you can see, education went down. So it went from 80 to 65, and that seemed like that was the big was that it seems like that was the big reason why the prices went down here. So take a screenshot here, and then I'll take another screenshot when there's more of a visible place for this. So I'll take another screenshot here. Here. And it's also under week 4 if you want to review this too. So yeah, the prices went down here. And what caused this monetary fiscal policy? Yeah, it could have been fiscal. Yeah, there could have been fiscal, especially with, so in Canada, under the government of about 1993 to 2006, they they cut the budget a lot and they raised taxes to get a lot of surpluses. So that contractionary monetary policy through raising taxes and lowering government spending, that contributed a lot to that could contribute a lot to reduced inflation. So contractionary fiscal policy through raising governments, raising taxes and lowering government spending, this could potentially contribute to this. That's a good point. Good points, Christabel. So so yeah, that's how you calculate. Canadian dollar would lose its value. Yes, that's the problem. We can't just print money because there's no actual productivity increases. There's no more stuff. Like we're not producing more. We're having it just leads to more money that we need for stuff. Like there's not more stuff. The amount of money we need for products and services just increases. It just makes the money worth less. Yes. So it's never a good thing to just print more money because you don't become richer, you become poorer. So that's an argument that I hear from a lot of people that haven't studied economics is just why can't we just print more money? And this is why, because we're not producing any more stuff. Not enough old money being destroyed. That's another reason to yes. So yeah, so the we should be focusing on productivity. The problem is we try to use this solution specifically in they still do this in Canada and the US, not to the extent of Zimbabwe, but they do print money to get the economy out of a recession short term, but not even close to the extent of Zimbabwe. But it doesn't work long term. It might work short term for a little bit, but long term, it's all productivity growth. So we should be producing more and focusing on growth of our economy, not not printing money. So good points, everyone here. Yes, classical. Yes. So classical is focused on the invisible hand and how everything will be corrected by not doing anything, just letting the market do its own work and not having any government intervention. So everything will work out in the long term. Everything will come back to normal without any government intervention. So that'd be classical. Yes. What are the other schools of thought? Keynesian, yes. So Keynesian, yeah. So they use government spending, they do government intervention when there's need for that. Yeah. So they come in if there's a recession, more government spending, less taxes to grow the amount of jobs and grow the economy. So great points. Yeah. Is there another school of thought? Monetarist, yes. Excellent. So yeah, monetarist, yes. So discuss the importance of understanding macroeconomic trends for policymakers. So need to evaluate wealth inequality and overall healthiness of the population. Yes. So that's something that they're really that is a real problem right now. The wealth inequality. So that's uh that's definitely one of the most important things that they're dealing with right now. Um yeah, so that is very important. And they are trying to find solutions for the amount of inequality that we're dealing with currently. So any other points on discussion for this? So policymakers need to consider factors, inflation, interest rates, and trade when setting macroeconomic goals, spurring economic growth, reducing poverty, maintaining a healthy level of inflation. Yes. Yes, exactly. So, yeah, they need to be focusing on all these things. And yeah, they need to be balancing all these because they need to be balancing the price level, the stability, low interest rates, inc having a lot of trade when economic growth is growing, lower poverty, and yeah, healthy price levels. That's good points there. Yeah, that's great. So how is Canada's GDP measured and what are the uses and limitations of real GDP? So consumption plus investment plus government spending plus exports minus imports of GDP. Limitations are it doesn't capture informal economic activity, non-market transactions, the quality of life. Yes, exactly. Yeah, so quality of life, it doesn't capture quality products, doesn't capture customer service, doesn't capture non-market transactions, doesn't capture informal economic activity, doesn't capture anything black market related. No cash transactions really are covered. So yeah, that's definitely a limitation. So what are some other limitations of real GDP? And what is the income approach to calculate GDP? So what is the income approach of calculating real GDP? And what are some more limitations of calculating of real GDP? So describe the key components of aggregate supply. So Christabel says income approach looks at everyone's income from wages slash salary to indirect tax, etc. Yes, great job, Christabel. That's true. So describe the key components of aggregate supply. So what goes in aggregate supply, one? So production costs, yes. So production costs, higher production costs would shift aggregate supply left because they would be able to, they couldn't produce as much because it's more expensive. So labor is another one. Yeah. So higher cost of labor, less aggregate supply because it's more expensive to produce the supply because labor costs have went up. Yeah, so there's less supply to be had here. Yeah, so GDP. So I would say, yeah, like higher. So GDP would be aggregate demand related mostly. I would say that if technology improved, aggregate supply would increase because you could produce more unit, more per worker because there's more productivity. So technology, if there's more technology, better tech. So general rise of prices in the economy. So what is the target inflation? So about 2 to 3%. So 2% for the Bank of Canada. So in what type of inflation do prices rise by 3% or less each year? So creeping inflation. So in which type of inflation do prices rise between 10 and 50% per year? So galloping inflation. Hyperinflation is when it's ridiculous. Like it's like way more than that. It's yeah, so it's a lot more than that. So what is deflation? So prices rise by a negative amount. So when does cost push inflation occur? So when there are increases in a firm's cost of production. What is demand pull inflation? So inflation occurs due to increased demand. Why do businesses' budgets decrease when inflation rises? Everything will become more expensive. So during inflation, what happens to the value of money? So it loses value, yes. So what causes inflation?